Charade. Circuit de Charade. If you're not so much into classic motorsport, you maybe never heard this name. In fact, it is one of the most beautiful tracks ever built. Some people used to call it the Little Nürburgring or the French Nürburgring, and others, such as Sterling Moss, claimed that it was the most beautiful circuit in the world. The Circuit de Charade was inaugurated 60 years ago, in July 1958. The idea to create a real mountain circuit in France came from Louis Rosier, a French racing driver, and Jean Auquetrre, the president of the Association Sportive de l'Automobile Club d'Auvergne. Auvergne? What is that? Well, this region, located in the heart of France, is a mountainous place surrounded by sleeping volcanoes. In other words, a unique and perfect spot to create a winding, twisting and snaky track which goes up and down with generous curves. During its first years of existence, the track hosted dozens of races, until 1965 when the Queen of Speed knocked on the door, Formula One, of course. Since 1950, all the French Grand Prix were held in Reims and Rouen-les-Essarts, but in 1965 Formula One drivers discovered a brand new track in an exceptional environment, lost in the middle of nowhere. The 1965 French Grand Prix was the first of the 4 Formula One races to take place at Charade. Jim Clark won the race and achieved one of the 11 hat tricks, pole position, fastest lap and victory, in his career. Clark might have only raced once in Charade, but he definitely mastered it like no one else before. The following 3 years, the Grand Prix de France was held in Reims, Le Mans and Rouen-les-Essarts for the last time ever before coming back to Charade in 1969. Jackie Stewart, 1 year after Jim Clark's deadly accident at Hockenheim, paid a tribute to his old friend by bringing home another hat trick, on average 20 seconds faster because of the new engine regulations, introduced in 1966, that allowed 3 liters engines instead of the previous 1.5 liters. Same track, but twice as much power. At this time, you had to be brave to drive a 450 horsepower Formula One around this snaky track. One mistake would send you straight into a precipice or into one of the many trees that surrounded the track. About bravery, after a 1971 edition won by Johan Rindt, Chris Amon offered in 1972 one last dance to the circuit by smashing the lap record in 2:53.9 with an average speed of 166.751 km per hour. An astonishing time considering the 8,055 kilometers and the 51 corners of the track. A great way to say goodbye to this unique place. Indeed, the 1972 Grand Prix was the last one. The track, because of the gully erosion, was often covered with chippings of pozzolana. It caused helmet Marco the loss of an eye, the end of his career and the stop of the use of Charade for the Grand Prix de France. Bad news, F1 was definitely gone. Good news, the track wasn't. Thankfully, these glory days have been immortalized by Rainer W. Schlegelmilch and Paul Lutz. Their photos are the best testimony of that era. The next 2 decades the circuit hosted many racing events such as Formula 3, Formula Renault, the Tour de France Automobile, sports/touring car racing and the Trophée d'Auvergne, the local race. Security was one of the main concerns until 1980, when 3 track marshals were killed during a touring race. In the penultimate lap of the French Cup R5 Elf, 2 drivers collided just after the curve of Manson's footbridge. They both rolled over, passing over the barriers and hit the marshals stationed at the left corner before the footbridge of the Gulf. 2 of the marshals, Marc Rochard and Bernard Costa, were killed and 2 others very seriously injured. One of them, Lionel Roussel, died from his wounds 3 weeks later. 4 years later, drivers protested over track safety, but the natural topography preventing any chance of adding runoff areas. The final race on the original 8 km track was held on September 18, 1988. The mod for this amazing track of history can be found at Race Department. A link is provided in the description box. And now, an amazing slideshow of amazing photos taken during the era of the track.